For 16 days, my wife and I traveled from London to Rome, traveling to numerous cities such as London, Paris, Zurich, Switzerland, Lucerne, Switzerland, Florence, Italy, and Rome, Italy. And I'm going to tell you all about each city. This vlog is primarily going to be about our Switzerland trip. We spent 2 days there, not too long there, but we are just happy that we got to see it and definitely want to go back. So I'm going to tell you the things that we loved and also things that we may have not liked about the trip. Just want to be fully transparent, so when you decide to travel abroad, you know exactly what to expect out of these cities. And if it looks like I may have gotten in a fight with someone, I did, with a camera tripod. As I was literally setting up my equipment today, my cheek went right into a metal piece of my tripod, and it made this little cut on my cheek and a little bruise. So it looks like I got in a fight, but it was just a tripod.
Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
First off, if you haven't watched my London and Paris vlog, go back and watch those. Those places were a great time as well. We visited those cities before we traveled down to Switzerland. So on our last day in Paris, we took an Uber over to the train station so we can get on our train from Paris to Zurich, Switzerland. This train ride was kind of long, but not insanely. It wasn't too bad, the seats were comfortable, and we really did enjoy the train ride with the views of France and Switzerland. So it was a pretty nice ride, nothing too crazy, so there were no complaints there. So yeah, after that train ride, we finally arrived in Zurich, Switzerland, and we walked on down to our hotel because it actually wasn't too far from our from the train station, so it was pretty nice. It's not a huge city, so it is very walkable. We did like that part, and the fact that our hotel was pretty close to the center of the city. We stayed in a hotel called Hotel Marta, which was pretty nice. It wasn't the most amazing hotel that we stayed in the whole trip. It was just okay, but there was one part of the hotel that we absolutely loved, and that was the view. We got probably the absolute best view from this hotel. We were a few levels up, I think like 5 or 6, so we were up there to be able to see the whole city, and it was absolutely amazing. Every day I think about that view and I wish we could go back because it was just so cool being able to see the whole city from our window. One thing we didn't love was that our hotel did not have air conditioning, and even though Switzerland is a pretty cooler climate, it was kind of warm when we went. It wasn't like hot, it was just kind of warm, and the sun coming right into the bedroom made it pretty warm in there, so it wasn't the most comfortable, but it also wasn't awful. We were able to open up the windows and get some fresh air in, and when we were sleeping at night, it wasn't so bad. I'll talk a little bit more about the hotel later. I'm going to first go on a day-by-day itinerary of what we did, and then I'm going to rate a few things such as transportation, food, shopping, things to see, hospitality, and the weather. So after we checked into our hotel, it was getting pretty close to dinner time, so we, of course, when we got to Switzerland, knew that we had to try some fondue. So they did, of course, have a place in Zurich to go to, which was literally walking distance from our hotel, and they were just opening, and they were able to squeeze us in. I'm not sure if I can pronounce the name of this restaurant correctly, so I'll put the name down here below as well, but I believe it's pronounced Raclette Stube, and it was just a super cute ambiance, and we really liked this restaurant, and we got in and we ordered their famous fondue with, I believe, bread and potatoes, and it was so good. I think the only thing I would have loved to add to this fondue was a meat choice as well, like a steak or beef or something. It was still very delicious having the meat and cheese and potatoes. It was super good. I'd give it like a 9.5 out of 10. After dinner, we just walked around Zurich and just explored the city and walked into some of the shops, and I think there was some delis and stuff like that. And it was just such a super, super cool city. We really loved the architecture of the buildings. It literally felt like you were just in this fairy tale land. It's like nothing I have ever seen before, and very, very rare to see in the US. There's just like, I think very, very few small little towns in the US you can explore that kind of look like this place, but even then, those don't even match up to these kinds of buildings. We walked around, did some souvenir shopping. I got a cool little Swiss Army knife, and we got some other little souvenirs as well. And I think really that night we didn't have much planned because we were just getting in from our train, and dinner was the plan, and then afterwards just kind of walk around until it was time to go to bed, really. So after shopping around, I think we just kind of went to bed early because we were wiped from the train travel and we had a big day tomorrow. Tomorrow was the main Switzerland event, like all the big things that we were doing. So we woke up the next morning and went to this place called, I believe it's pronounced Babu's Bakery. And if you catch me kind of looking down, I'm literally looking at my camera roll because it helps me remember everything that we did because I got video of everything. Here we were just getting a pastry and coffee. The pastries were really good. We got a chocolate croissant and some sort of blueberry type of pastry thing for Caitlin. I can't fully remember what that was, but they were both really good. Our coffees, I've had better, but they were still drinkable. I didn't mind them. So the coffees were okay. But one big culture shock thing that happened while we were in this bakery that me and Caitlin, my wife, have never seen before was there were literal wasps swarming all of the pastries, and the workers were walking around and working like they weren't even there, and we were just like, are we the only ones seeing this? Anybody who's from Europe or Switzerland or whatever watching this video, if you can kind of explain that to me, because I tried looking it up and it seems like it's a kind of normal thing there because of the sugar in the pastries. It attracts the wasps, but they're not supposed to be harmful or anything, if I'm getting that correct. So I'm not super educated on that. So if anyone can explain that in the comments below, that was just very interesting because I've never been to a bakery in the US where wasps are just swarming the pastries. But they didn't seem to be hurting anyone, and it wasn't phasing any of the local people, so we were just okay, I guess this is normal. Anyways, after we went to that bakery, we were going to kind of our main event of Switzerland, which was the Lindt chocolate factory, or I think they call it the home of chocolate, and I wanted to go here badly because it is one of my favorite chocolates, and we do have it here in the US, thankfully. And when I heard they had this chocolate factory in Switzerland, I was like, oh my god, we have to go. We're literally in the city of this factory, so I was so excited to go to this place and just check it out, see the history of how the company was created, and also gave a big background of how chocolate is made and processed and packaged and manufactured. So we really loved getting to explore this factory, and you also get to go throughout the tour, you get to try different chocolates. There is even a section where you literally can pour melted chocolate on a spoon and try it. There was a section where they had every single Lindt flavor imaginable in this one section, and they let you take pretty much as many as you wanted. Of course, I don't think they would let you fill like a bag full, but like they let you take like big handfuls without even saying anything. So that was really cool. And it's also just a super beautiful factory, super clean, super nice, and just a great thing to do with your family or whenever you're in Zurich. I definitely suggest you go on this tour. It was definitely a lot of fun. We went in the morning time and the tour wasn't so crazy. So if you do plan to go on a tour here, maybe go in the morning time because there isn't a ton of people. I believe our tour was like at 10 a.m. or something like that. But yeah, really loved this tour. And at the end, they had a massive gift shop of pretty much it felt like every single Lindt product that you can imagine. From truffles to bars to a station where you can make your own giant chocolate square and customize a design on it and everything. And I definitely got I think I got like one of all the flavors, and we just like ate on them like throughout the trip. And it was really cool because there are definitely some flavors there that aren't in the US, and I really wish they were because they were just so good. So yeah, really loved this tour. After the tour, we actually went to the Zurich post office because we had a lot of kind of colder clothing from London and Paris because it was a little cooler up there than it was going to be down in Italy, and we knew we didn't need that clothing, and it was kind of just weighing us down, and we needed more space in our suitcases, so we actually shipped a bunch of our clothes and I think some souvenirs and other stuff as well, just to clear up some space in our suitcases. And it was a pretty penny. It was pretty expensive, but I think it was definitely well worth it because it just helped us so much coming back home with less stuff in our suitcase, and we were able to pack in more souvenirs and stuff like that without stressing about our suitcases fitting on the airplane or anything like that. So if you feel you kind of have too much stuff in Europe, I definitely suggest just going to their post office and shipping it home. It does take a while to get back home. It can take up to 30 days. I think it took 2 or 3 weeks for us. And we were kind of stressed about shipping our stuff internationally, but they give you tracking, and we were able to track it, and it made it to our apartment, so there were really no issues. It was just kind of expensive, but definitely well worth it. So after that, we were actually kind of waiting for another train because we were taking a day trip to Lucerne, Switzerland. But before we went on our train, there was a little market going on outside the train station with some food and stuff like that. And a pretty funny story with this one, we went to this station where it looked like they were making really good looking hot dogs, and we were like, oh my gosh, like these look so good, let's get one. And when they brought out the hot dog was made of carrot. And we didn't realize this until we took a bite into it, and we were like, this does not taste like a hot dog. And we looked at it, and it was a carrot. So it was very, very weird and interesting, but shockingly still like pretty good. Just wasn't something I would have ordered if I knew it was a carrot. So if you are traveling and you're looking at something that looks like what you think is a hot dog, just make sure it actually is one before you order it. So after that, we got on our train to Lucerne, Switzerland, and the reason that we wanted to go to this city is because we've seen images and videos of this place, and it is just super magical, and they have this very popular bridge there called the Chapel Bridge, I believe it's called. This place to me was like, looked even cooler than Zurich. We really liked this place, got to walk across the bridge, and it's just like covered in all these flowers and stuff like that. Got to get really cool images here. I really liked the photos that I got here and videos as well. And then along the street by the bridge, there is just a bunch of shopping, bunch of restaurants, cafes, bakeries. It wasn't a long train ride either from Zurich. I believe it was only about like 45 minutes, so it was a pretty easy day trip for us to go there and back in the evening time. But yeah, this was one of my favorite cities that we visited on our trip. Like I said, in Zurich, it just felt like a fairy tale land, and it like almost like Disneyland to a much grander scheme. We did some shopping. I got this really cool Swiss watch that I'm going to probably hold on dearly for a very long time. And then we got dinner right by the bridge with an awesome view. I, again, can't really pronounce this restaurant, so I'll put it down here below for you guys as well. So we really enjoyed this restaurant. I, of course, had to try out a Bratwurst, and it came with some hash browns, and my wife got this mac and cheese bowl kind of thing with a bunch of things inside it. It was like bacon bits, grilled onions, and a lot of other things. This was super delicious as well, so we really enjoyed this restaurant. After that, we got some gelato and just chilled and enjoyed the view of the Chapel Bridge. I think this was like the first time, too, we got gelato on our Europe trip, because we didn't get any in London or Paris, I don't believe, so this was like one of the first times, and it was really good. We loved getting to sit by the water because there was all of these swans and geese and ducks just floating on by, and they didn't seem scared of you, so they get up really close and you just get to interact with them, and that was really cool as well. After that, it was time to take our train back to Zurich, so we got to the train station and took the 45-minute train ride back to Zurich. That was our last full day in Switzerland. The next morning, we got up and I went straight downstairs, which was one other pretty cool thing about our hotel. Was a little cafe was right outside of our hotel, so I just had to go right downstairs, and I got us 2 little croissant pastries that were pretty good and 2 coffees. Those are pretty good as well. And we just kind of chilled, enjoyed the view one last time before we had to pack up and go to the train station to take our train ride on to Italy. So yeah, that was our short little 2 days in Switzerland. Again, I am so happy that we got to see it. It was one of my biggest bucket list countries to see, so I was just so, again, happy to see it. So to finish the video, like I said, am going to rate the transportation, the food, the shopping, the things to see, the hospitality, and the weather. So the transportation seemed pretty well in Zurich and Lucerne. We were able to ride that easy train from Zurich to Lucerne and back. It was fairly easy to get tickets for it, and it wasn't crazy expensive, and it was pretty comfortable, so that was nice. They did have an above ground rail train kind of thing that went throughout the city. We were in Zurich for such a short amount of time, we didn't even really need to ride it, because everything was within walking distance from our hotel, so that was nice. And there were like a couple things that weren't in walking distance, and we just took an Uber because I don't think the rail system went to those spots we needed to go, so we just took an Uber. So there is Uber and Bolt there as well, which is on the pricier side, but we only needed to use it a couple times, so didn't spend too much on that. So the transportation, I can't really give a rating on their above ground rail system because we didn't use it, but based off of the train ride for the day trip that we had and the Ubers as well, it was pretty seamless and easy, so I'd give it a 10 out of 10. The food, I think I would give a 9 out of 10. We did really enjoy the food here. Again, I think I would just add a couple things such as the meat to our fondue, and then the hot dog not having actual meat was pretty interesting as well, but still shockingly pretty good. So we did enjoy all our food, so I would give that a 9 out of 10. We did really enjoy the shopping in Switzerland as well. I didn't talk too much about it, but they have things from really cool little souvenirs that you can get for yourself, your family, your friends, and also designer things as well, such as, of course, their luxury Swiss watches, nice Swiss Army knives, stuff like that. I was able to snag a couple of those, and I really love those. A couple of my favorite souvenirs that I got on the trip, so the shopping I would give a 10 out of 10. The things to see in Switzerland, there definitely is a lot to see. I don't think there is as many like big crazy landmarks or museums such as like Paris or Rome, but the whole city in general is awesome to see, and it's just really cool walking around, feeling like you've transported to this just different world. And so for that, I would give Switzerland a 10 out of 10. And of course, we only saw the city parts, and we saw the mountainous parts, which are very popular as well, when we rode the train through the Swiss Alps and such like that. So we did get to see all the mountains and everything like that, and that was beautiful as well. So Switzerland has to get a 10 out of 10 for that. The hospitality, it wasn't our favorite hotel. Again, it had its pros and cons, and it wasn't awful. We didn't hate the hotel, it just wasn't our favorite out of the whole trip. The bed was okay. The shower did kind of leak through and get all on the bathroom floor, which was a little annoying, and of course not having AC, it did get a little warm sometimes, so it wasn't, and it was a little on the pricier side. Of course, everything in Switzerland is expensive, so that is why. So I would probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10, but I think that view from the hotel almost made up for everything, because that was one of my favorite parts of the trip. Now, the weather was actually amazing when we were there. There were certain parts of the Europe trip that were hotter than Switzerland, definitely, and I don't think it really ever got hot at all while we were there. Of course, we were there in September. May through August is probably much hotter, but I don't think it really got uber hot at all, so did really love that. I would give, and there wasn't any crazy rain while we were there or anything. It was just beautiful, sunny, partly cloudy, not that hot, so I would give the weather a 10 out of 10. And we were there in the beginning of September. We didn't want to go in the summer when it was super hot, so that's why we chose September, because it wasn't going to be too hot, it wasn't going to be too cold. So yeah, that was our day-by-day itinerary of Switzerland. We visited Zurich, visited Lucerne, and got to see a bit of some other places as we were riding the train. So we just really, really loved this trip. I would say that this was our second favorite out of the whole trip. London was, at least just speaking for myself, was my top favorite, and Switzerland was a very, very close second. It was also such an amazing change of pace. When we were in Paris, and even London too, everything is go, 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 super fast, very busy, crowded, loud, kind of dirty. Paris was, and then when we got to Switzerland, it was just like quiet, calm, peaceful, relaxing. We weren't in a rush for anything. It was so nice to have this in the middle of our trip, because we were kind of able to recharge for an entire week of Italy after this. And that will be my next video, where we visit Florence and Rome. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are going to Switzerland, I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have any questions, please leave them down below. And if there is anything else I kind of left out about these cities, please share those as well. I'd love to be able to talk to people who got to experience these cities too, or live in these cities. So like this video, subscribe to my channel to see more of my Europe content, and I will see you in the next one.